Hello, and welcome to today's webcast entitled Zurich Golf and Country Club Program. During the presentation, you can ask a question at any time by clicking the green Q&A icon on your lower left-hand corner of your screen. Type in your question in the open area and click Ask to submit. If you need operator assistance, please press star and then 0. It is now my pleasure to turn the webcast over to Kathleen Trautmann. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Kathleen Trautmann, a member of the Zurich Programs Marketing Team, and I'm pleased to welcome you to today's Zurich's Golf and Country Club Program webinar. This webinar is brought to you by Z Programs Match, which is an online tool that connects retail insurance agents with Zurich program administrators. It's the direct link for you to gain access to this coverage, as well as more than 50 other Zurich programs. Today's webinar will run approximately 30 minutes, with 10 minutes reserved at the end for questions and answers. Feel free to submit your questions at any time during the webinar by typing it in the Ask a Question box on the lower part of your screen. Today's webinar will be recorded. We will be emailing you a link to the on-demand video, and it will also be posted in the Knowledge Center on the zprogramsmatch.com site. In today's webinar, you will learn the types of risks that fall within this program's appetite, along with the ineligible risks. You'll also walk away with the key components needed for completing a submission, and you'll also develop an understanding on the true benefits that Zurich and the program administrator have to offer with this program. So let's get started. We have 3 presenters for today's webinar. First, we have Rob Mulhern, who is the Executive Vice President for the Golf and Country Club Program for Venture, who is the program administrator. Rob has over 20 years' experience in the insurance industry writing golf and country clubs. Our second presenter is Time Puleo, and he is one of our Zurich underwriters, and Tim has over 10 years of experience with underwriting golf and country clubs. And our third presenter today is Tom Bello, and he is also with Zurich, and he is one of our underwriters who also focuses on the Golf and Country Club program. So as you can see, our speakers today bring a lot to our discussion, and we're going to share with you how you can succeed with writing golf and country clubs. So, Rob, as we begin today's webinar, can you start with the types of risks that fall within the appetite of this program for the Golf and Country Club?
Thanks, Kathleen. As a program administrator, we've put together a very comprehensive program with Zurich, and for the past 5 years, we've been very successful writing golf and country clubs. Today, we wanted to walk you through some of the basic guidelines, program highlights, and program requirements of our program. So let's first talk about our program appetite. Our program appetite primarily focuses on 6 types of clubs. Private golf and country clubs. These clubs are normally very exclusive and only allow access to members and their guests with no public play. Semi-private golf clubs. They sell some memberships but are open to some public play. Daily fee courses, not municipally owned. Normally we focus on high-end daily fee courses with a $35 per round rate to play the course. We also focus on golf management companies and multi-course operators. These are normally larger accounts with multi-state and multi-location types of businesses. We're very successful in this space, and we write 8 out of the top 20 golf management companies throughout the U.S. And private social clubs and city clubs. These are normally country clubs without golf. They include social dining and other club amenities similar to a country club, and may even include hotel and lodging exposures. We are an all-lines offering that includes package, including liquor, herbicide, pesticide, miscellaneous professional for golf and tennis pros, and outdoor property coverages specifically designed for golf and country clubs. D&O and EPLI insurance, workers' compensation, and umbrella are also part of the program. So let's break down a few of the coverages found in the program. From a property perspective, we have golf property enhancements. One of the biggest features that we have is an additional $1 million limit that is outside of the blanket building and personal property for outdoor property. This includes signs, sprinkler systems, fencing, tennis courts, cart paths, and other items found on a golf course. Please note that this is an additional limit to the blanket limit, and if one of the items that I mentioned, such as cart paths or in-ground sprinkler systems, is larger or you need additional limit, we can always rate for that and make it part of the blanket limit. Business income and extra expense. We don't have a sublimit with regards to this as far as it extends to the golf course. So the full limit of business income and extra expense that is purchased extends to the golf course. From a general liability perspective, one of the big features of our program is that we are non-auditable on the GL, and as long as we have financials on file, we can waive the audit. Please note that we don't rate on membership dues or initiation fees. This is critical because when we write a lot of private clubs, just because the club costs more money to join or is more exclusive, they shouldn't pay more for their insurance. And our GL enhancement. We add members as additional insureds, and we also include miscellaneous professional liability for fitness trainers, spa employees, and golf and tennis professionals. We can also include sexual abuse and molestation coverage as part of the general liability. And we also include it for mostly the private clubs that have daycare or day camp operations or junior golf clinics. From an umbrella perspective, we can offer up to $25 million of umbrella limit. This is a true umbrella. And we also have the ability to offer a $10 million sublimit, which would go over the primary, D&O, and EPLI. The biggest feature in what makes us a golf program is the tee to green or golf course coverage. With all the crazy weather that we've had across the country over the past 3 years, this is an area that most clubs will focus on when they're reviewing your proposal. Zurich's form is considered one of the broadest in the marketplace, and we offer a $1 million or a $2.5 million limit for this coverage. Some of the key features include full tree coverage with no sublimit and full debris removal coverage on the golf course with no sublimit. So no matter whichever you prefer, the million or the $2.5 million, you can have the trees up to the $2.5 million as well as the debris removal. Signature tree coverage is also available for trees along the course that frame out the golf hole, and it's available at $50,000 per tree up to a $300,000 aggregate upon request. Lastly, D&O and EPLI. Our program is supported by 4 different carriers outside of Zurich for this line of coverage. We offer $1 to $5 million of limit, and we can also offer separate aggregates for both D&O and EPLI, so one does not erode the other. And defense is normally found outside the limit for most clubs.
Hey, Rob, this is Tim. Before we move on to the next slide, I just wanted to point out 2 items on this one. The first is with abusive acts. Although with the majority of clubs we can be silent on GL, if there is a true child care exposure, daycare on premises, for example, we do prefer to write the separate coverage line for abuse and molestation and exclude on the GL, so it would have its own limit. And the second item is with D&O coverage. We can schedule on the umbrella. However, we do request that you have a $2 million sublimit for the D&O if the fence is outside, and $5 million if the fence is in.
Thanks, Tim. That's a great point. Now we wanted to move on to ineligible risks. I know we don't like to talk about it very often, but our program can't be everything to everybody. But there are a few things that we can't write, and those are listed here. We don't include protection class 8, 9, and 10 in our guidelines. These are normally rural areas and lack the protection required by the program. Executive and 9-hole courses. We can consider 9-hole courses as long as they're private, but we don't include executive courses or what we call a chip and putt or par 3 course. Standalone driving ranges. These are not eligible for the program, and normally these include family fun centers, batting cages, those types of operations. Municipal golf courses, unless privately managed. So municipal golf courses are normally not considered, but if they're privately managed and not operated by the municipality, they can be considered in the program with additional underwriting details. And miniature golf is another ineligible class that we're not willing to consider within the program.
Hey, Rob, this is Tom. Just a word on the ineligible risks, PC 8, 9, and 10, as they are, per our guidelines, prohibited, but we will look at them with a supplemental application showing the secondary water supply, make and model of the pumps, and the size and capacity in gallons per minute. We'll look at them, we'll review them on a case-by-case basis, and we also will send out risk engineering to determine the adequacy of the fire suppression system.
Great point, Tom. Thanks for that. And yeah, we're going to talk about it a little later in the slide presentation, but we have specialized loss control that's available for the program where they follow a special template, and this is definitely an area where we can drill down and get adequate information. We can definitely reconsider those. Thanks for that point, Tom. Now we wanted to talk about submission requirements, and this is where it's great to talk with agents and let them know exactly what we need in order to consider a submission complete. What we're looking for here is accord applications completed by the agent, a statement of values, and with the statement of values, we're looking for a breakout of the building values by structure. Most golf courses out there are going to have multiple structures at the premise, so we want to break out of the different buildings, whether it be the clubhouse, the cart storage, the maintenance facility, maybe a halfway house or a snack bar or a pool house. We want those broken out, and then we need the COPE for each of those. So the construction, occupancy, and protection of each and the values held within them. Financials. These are crucial for our submission because, one, they're needed for the D&O and EPO on private clubs, as well as they allow us to pull the membership dues and initiation fees out of the rating so we can quote the account on the proper GL rating basis. And they also allow us to waive the audit, as was previously discussed. Currently 5-year loss runs. We're looking to paint a picture here to show that the club has had good success or recent success with their loss history. And then the preferred club supplemental applications. There are a number of applications that are found on our website or that our underwriters can send to you, and we will work off of competing carriers' applications.
Hey, Rob, this is Tom again. A completed submission, it helps us out a lot with referrals, having all the information that we need to give a quick turnaround time for our quotes.
Tom, that's a great point. We do, here at Venture Programs, we do have authorities that we work within, and at times, based on limits or losses, we do have to refer to Tim and Tom because it exceeds certain authorities, and the complete submission really improves the turnaround time and really allows the underwriting manager to look at the account and understand all the exposures that are involved. It also reduces the number of questions that we have to come back to you as the agent to ask for additional drill downs on information. Great point, Tom. Moving on, we wanted to talk about the benefits of insuring with Zurich and also Venture Programs. Some of the benefits are, obviously, Kathleen touched on it earlier. You know, we've been in this business of writing golf and country clubs for over 23 years. There's really no exposure that we haven't seen since we've been doing it this long, and we have the flexibility to make things happen with regards to specific accounts, whether it's acquisition, sale, mergers. We see it all the time, and there's really nothing from the golf space that we can't handle, as well as tournament activities, whether it be PGA or USGA contracts. We're very familiar. And from a coverage perspective, we have the additional outdoor property that we spoke about, the tee to green. These have been tried and tested by national brokers across the country, and we have competitive pricing. We put out the best quotes that we can with the best coverages, but we pay a competitive commission as well as a competitive price. We'll also have special program filings, so we have deviations available in certain states for certain types of risks. And from a services perspective, we have a marketing team here at Venture Programs, and we have a number of items on our website. One of them is the CAST tool, which allows your agency to go on and load in your logo and information and history about your firm, and it makes things look seamless to the insured. It also, we're here to help you and make you look like the expert when it comes to writing golf insurance. Whether this is an industry group that your agency wants to get involved with, or whether it's something you're already in and you're looking to offer a new product to one of your insureds. And from a Zurich perspective, everybody knows about Zurich. They're a highly rated carrier at A+. They also are the 4th largest writer of commercial insurance in North America, which is huge. And with that support and with that size comes excellent claims management and loss control. We really drill down in this area, and we have oversight here at Venture Programs to make sure that we're putting out a customized program to each insured. Each insured does receive an annual inspection upon writing with Venture Programs and Zurich. And from a claims management perspective, they have great claims payability. They're not going to fight you. At the end of the day, they're excellent at what they do, and we have great support here. And we really appreciate everything that they do for us from a services perspective. Now I want to hand you back to Kathleen, and she will show you how you can access the program through zprogramsmatch.com.
Thanks, Rob. Well, the first step is to go out to zprogramsmatch.com, and you want to log in. When you do, you want to select a specialty category within the Programs tab to find the Golf and Country Club program. The program profile page will provide you with an overview of the program, and to request contact from the program administrator, all you have to do is click the orange Contact the Program Administrator button. Once you've submitted your request for contact, the program administrator will follow up with you within 2 business days. So now we're going to open it up to questions and answers, and I can see questions have already been submitted, so Rob, Tim, and Tom will do their best to answer as many questions as they can in the time that we have left. So let me look at the question and answers here, and let's get started. So let's see. Tom, one of the questions that's been submitted by our audience is, what states can you write the golf course program in?
We write in all states with the exception of Florida using ISO rates.
Okay. Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome.
Let's see here. Next question. Rob, I think you could help out on with this one. What commission do you pay on package policies?
That's a great question. We pay street commissions. Normally our commission is 12.5% on our package lines, but we can negotiate commission on each and every deal.
All right. Let's see here. Another question that's been submitted by the audience is, and Tim, I'm going to see if maybe you can help me out with this one. Can you write a club that is under new ownership?
Yeah, subject to additional underwriting. We'd like to see club management's experience in the industry, at least 5 years. Within the past 10 years or so, clubs have changed hands quite a bit, so we run into that fairly often.
See here. Another question from the audience. Rob, are you the only one really focused on the Golf and Country Club program, or do you have a team of individuals that are going to help you, that are going to help out an agent with regards to a golf submission that they might have?
We do have a team here at Venture Programs. We have a team of new and renewal underwriters that are all experienced in underwriting golf and country clubs throughout the country, and we're broken up in 7 different territories based on new and renewal. I focus primarily on the golf management companies as well as the multi-state and multi-location accounts.
Okay. Here we go. Another question, and maybe, Rob, you can answer this. What coverage is offered for weight of ice and snow for the tee to green coverage?
That's a great question. Weight of ice and snow is one of our perils on our tee to green form. We have standard name perils plus windstorm, hail, vandalism, including weight of ice and snow to the tee to green. So your full $1 million or $2.5 million would be available if damaged from weight of ice and snow.
Question for you. Are you writing this program or risks in Florida?
No, not in Florida.
Okay. Tim, another question has come in. Is there a sublimit on the umbrella for D&O and EPL?
$10 million is the sublimit.
Okay.
Yeah, on the umbrella, it would be $10 million sublimit. But on the primary, there is no sublimit for the defense outside the limit, if that's what they're asking.
Okay.
Just wanted to clarify.
And Rob, just to clarify also, for Florida, that's Venture does have a market for Florida. It's just not through Zurich.
We do, correct. Thanks, Tim.
Another question, Rob, regarding the D&O coverages, will this include any coverage for membership discrimination claims?
That's a great question. No, we do not have that in our D&O. We actually covered under the GL. I didn't touch on it, so it's a great question. We have a third-party discrimination extension in the GL, so it would be first dollar with no deductible. We think that's a cleaner way to write it. It avoids the large deductibles sometimes that you see on the D&O and EPLI policies. So we do cover it in the GL with no deductible.
Thanks, Rob. Let me just see here. We've got a number of questions that have come through. Let's see here. Oh, here's a question. Rob, what is the preferred timing for submissions?
Well, we like to see accounts between 30 and 45 days ahead of the effective date. Tom and Tim are excellent at turning around quick referrals if we need them, and we can normally turn it around quicker if need be here at Venture Programs. But primarily, 30, 45 days is plenty, especially if you have a complete submission that we discussed with the supplemental applications along with the 5 years loss runs and the financials. We can normally turn it around even quicker than that.
Here. Another question, Rob, that came in is, and I know you talked about this a little bit earlier with regards to the marketing materials that you guys have available. Someone in our audience wants to know if there's a PDF version or if there's other materials or information that they can keep on hand on the Golf and Country Clubs program.
Absolutely. All of our what we call fact sheets or broker agency kits are available on the Venture Programs website. So we'd be more than happy to get you set up with that. All you need to do is access ventureprograms.com. A lot of that information is found in our applications or marketing section. And if you're an agency, you can sign on and get a copy of our broker agency kit. That will include the supplemental applications along with the fact sheets and the sales sheets that I had talked about, showing the highlights of the program along with the risk management services that come along with the program. And you can personalize those if you want with your agency name and information and logo and such.
Okay. This next question I'm going to throw out to all three of you. Is there a desire to pre-inspect prior to binding?
Really depends on the size of the account in general. If it's over $50 million in TIV, we may want to pre-inspect.
Okay. There's another question that was submitted in asking, is there a minimum premium?
Yeah, our minimum premium for the program on the package by itself is probably $15,000 to $20,000. We normally don't go below that because we get less competitive in that space. Really, we're a best-in-class program, giving all the bells and whistles in our forms. So we normally don't write, under $15,000 packages.
Here's another question that's been submitted by the audience. Given the heavy snowstorms that took place in the Northeast over the past couple of years, are clubs with recent losses eligible for coverage?
Yeah, I can take that one. Absolutely. If it's a loss ratio issue and a frequency issue, we're a little more sensitive to that. If there's one large weather-related loss at a location, it certainly doesn't take you out of the equation for consideration in the preferred club program. So we would have no problem looking at that. When we see frequency on either the GL or the property from storms, or maybe it's you're coastally located, we may have to put a wind deductible on there to protect the program or price ourselves appropriately, but it certainly doesn't, I would suggest that you submit it anyway.
Okay. Another question that just was posted was, are there any specific coverages that are exclusive to this program, Rob?
Well, all the coverages that we discussed are exclusive to the program. So this is all through Zurich Programs Unit. All the forms that we discussed, the GL enhancement, the T to green, the D&O is all exclusive to venture programs. Even the $25 million umbrella is a risk purchasing group set up for venture programs with Zurich and has specialty pricing, and it's just for golf and country clubs. So everything that we talked about today as far as the enhancements are all only available through the program administrator for Zurich.
Thanks, Rob.
Yep.
Another question is, what pre-binding inspections or loss controls are required?
Really, going off of what Tim said earlier, we normally don't pre-inspect. Since we're such a niche program, a lot of the exposures we have a pretty good handle on, and Tim and Tom we know what they're comfortable with and what they can consider and can't consider in the program guidelines. So we normally don't inspect. If we have an exposure that is outside of the norm, especially in a larger account or a larger single location club, we can inspect. If they've had an issue in the past and we want to make sure something has been resolved, we do that sometimes, but very seldom do we inspect prior to binding.
Okay. And then I have a number of questions, gentlemen, that have been submitted, but I'm going to go with this last one so that we can keep everybody on time with the 30-minute webinar. And Rob, it's kind of a two-part question because it's really coming from two different audience attendees, but it's all with regards to coastal.
Okay.
One is, are there any specific underwriting conditions for courses along the Texas Gulf Coast or Tier 1 counties?
Yes. I mean, there's, I guess, two things. Here at Venture, we do have the capability and the capacity to handle coastal accounts, a lot of which can be handled by Zurich in the Tier 1 and Tier 2 counties. Certainly as you get closer to the water, and a lot of golf courses obviously are on the water or near it, we do run into this a lot. So we have a secondary market that can handle what I call pure coastal or Tier 1 areas. The Tier 1 areas that are better protected and the Tier 2 zones we can consider with Zurich. We do have certain underwriting guidelines from a construction and protection guideline, as well as we try to drill down on what is really sellable in that market space. And normally that includes, we can write it on an admitted basis, but it will include a percentage wind deductible. And it can range anywhere from 2 to 5%, let's say, depending on the distance to the water and how the account has performed in the past. So we do, so Kathy, we do have the capability and we can consider them.
Okay, because I know the other part of the question was someone else wanted to ask what your guidelines were with regards to New York and Long Island and the tri-state area. Yep,
we're open in New York as well. You know, that's where Tom and Tim actually reside. We do write a number of clubs on Long Island as well as Westchester County, New York. So we're familiar with it. Again, depending on the distance to the water and the experience of the course, we will most likely have to have either a larger dollar deductible for wind and hail or a percentage deductible. The one thing I do want to point out about our wind and hail deductibles is those percentage deductibles or higher deductibles, dollar deductibles, only apply to the building and personal property. They don't extend to the golf course coverages. So that's a difference between some of the competition out there where if they hit you with a 2% wind and hail deductible, you may see that extend to the golf and country club enhancements where ours does not. So your standard AOP deductible would apply to the outdoor property and the tee to green.
Okay. Thanks, Rob. I think being where we're at with time, we'll now conclude the Q&A portion of this webinar. What I wanted to make sure is that I shared with the audience and who's attending today's webinar that you're aware of the Z Programs Match Referral Rewards Program. And this referral program will give you the opportunity to receive up to $250 in Amex gift cards, as well as a chance to win an iPad Air 2. So visit zprogramsmatch.com and you go to the home page, and under the What's New section, you'll find a link that will take you directly to the details on the Referral Rewards Program. So I also want to make sure when you visit Z Programs Match to go out and look at the Golf and Country Club program, as well as all the other Zurich programs that we have available, and to request contact from program administrators and to access this webinar as well as other recorded webinars in our Knowledge Center. We are always open to new ideas or enhancements that we can make to the site and make it easier for you. There are a few ways you can contact us. The first is to go to the info@zprogramsmatch.com email address, and you can use that to submit questions about the website itself. Or if you have suggestions for webinar topics that you would like to for us to cover, or if you have difficulty in getting a response from a program administrator, just feel free to send us a note at agentfeedback@zprogramsmatch.com. We appreciate your business and your interest in the Z Programs Match webinar series. Zurich looks forward to serving you as we work together to provide for the insurance needs of our mutual customers. This concludes today's presentation. Thanks again for attending, and make it a great day.
Thanks to all our participants for joining us today. This concludes our webcast. You may now disconnect. Everyone have a wonderful day. Speakers